Hello, my name is Dr. Timothy Carman. I've been a member of the ISHRS and I'm a fellow about 14 years now. I've been practicing hair transplant surgery for about 17, and I am the current Vice President of the American Board of Hair Restoration Surgery. I approached this practice because my inborn interest in art. I'm a painter. Basically, for me, hair transplant surgery is sculpting. I go to work every day and I get to improve the quality of my patients' lives by sculpting. And I listen to Mozart and I basically sculpt, and my medium is tissue, human tissue. It marries the two things I love most, artwork and surgery, and I get to do it in my office. Hundreds of people that now have become my patients, but more than my patients, they're kind of like walking works of art. It's very gratifying. I'm blessed to be able to do what I do. It allows me to express the talents that the universe has bestowed upon me. There are two extreme approaches to hair transplant surgery. Just like anything in medicine, really. There's the technical side where you need to be able to understand the science behind what you're doing. There's the art side. So that's why it's the art and science of medicine, and in this case, the art and science of hair transplant surgery. So the numbers and the numbers of graphs and the angles and the 1/3, the distance, and all these things are important to have because you need to understand it from that perspective. Because it is a scientific pursuit. Surgery is a scientific pursuit. On the other hand, human beings are not scientific. They're examples of artwork. They are made from the same stuff that the universe makes everything out of. They're created and they're organic. So for me, I'm a portrait painter. So when I paint someone, I look at what I'm painting, and hopefully when I get done, it looks like them. And that is art. I was taught a long time ago by a mentor that you look at the part you're drawing and then you draw the part you're looking at. So it taught me to develop the way that I see. When a patient comes to me, I have to understand the basics of, he only has so many grafts, for instance. So I only have so much paint. He is going to get older. So he is going to have a continuing need for more paint. I have to understand and convey that to my patient that, listen, for your lifetime, I only have so much paint. And therefore, we have to be careful where we place that paint. This, to me, is simple, it's artwork. Now, the numbers and all that definitely enter into it, because the most important thing is if a patient comes to me and I estimate that in their lifetime, they're not gonna have enough numbers, graphs to pull this off, I'll tell them not to pull the trigger. I'd rather tell patients that than to have them find that out 2 transplant, 3 transplant surgeries 15, 20 years from now, when they're in the prime of their life and now they have a problem that was maybe with good intentions created, but maybe not with enough foresight. I enjoy looking at someone, understanding my limitations, and then creating my artwork around the limitations that those numbers generate for me. And that's where my hairlines come from. That's where the variations in density, because I have to turn back the clock the way nature did it, meaning how they lost their hair, and I can only go so far. And there's gonna be variations in density, there's gonna be variations in patterns. Most importantly, there's not gonna be perfect asymmetry. The numbers make you want to go towards perfect asymmetry. Nature is inclined to be imperfect. Some of the most weird hairlines I've ever seen were not man-made, they were made by nature, and that's what made them look natural. So I strive for that element in all of my creations. A lot of what I do in the consult these days is deprogramming. Patients come to me, their first question is, how many grafts do I need? And they usually want a lot of grafts and they want to cover everything. A large part of my consults now are basically what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's called informed consent. A patient can't make a good decision with bad information. And it's not that the people providing information are bad people, it's just that that's the nature of getting information these days. It's all over the map. Most of this information comes from well-intentioned human beings on forums, but sometimes it can be the blind leading the blind with good intentions. So when they come in with those numbers, my job is to educate. That's what I do in my consults. I educate my patients and I let them know that this is the biggest one, as I mentioned before, is there's a limitation to how much hair we should conservatively remove. and we need to work within that limit. And then the artwork is created around those limitations. I spend a good amount of time explaining the technical differences between the different types of harvesting methods, grafting methods, so that when I'm done, they understand not only the numbers part of it, but they understand why I create the artwork that I create when I sculpt. It is because I have to respect my materials. Well, as a painter, I paint primarily in oils. I'm not going to mix my oil paints with water. I'm going to mix them with oil. So the same thing, there are limitations to the materials, human tissue. Some of those are guided by numbers, most of them are. That gives you a good outcome. All of your grafts grow. That gives you a good outcome. You don't transplant too densely. That gives you a good outcome. You don't over-harvest. And a lot of these patients, they will come in with expectations that will lead to all those poor consequences if you just ran with, I want this many grafts, I want to put them all here. Really a normal part of any medical practice, especially in an elective cosmetic procedure, where it's the surgeon's responsibility to engage the patient in informed consent. And that's basically what I do in the consult.